Hey, it's Mike Hambright with the Flip Nerd VIP show. Today I'm back with Tristan Pollock. He is the founder and CEO of Storefront, and it's a very interesting concept that you probably haven't even thought of before. When you hear it, it'll be kind of an aha moment that, why didn't I think of this? But it's a really cool play on excess retail space and how you could lease out that space and make some extra money, something you probably haven't thought of before. Before we get started today with our interview, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Tristan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. How's it going?
Good. So you've got a really cool concept. We've talked about this a little bit before, and it's just one of those things that you kind of hear, and you're like, wow, maybe I have some extra space I could rent out to folks. But what you'll do the best job of telling us a little bit about Storefront and how your model works. Tell us a little bit about your concept. It's obviously not even a concept. I mean, you have an operating business now. But tell us a little bit about conceptually how your business model works.
Yeah, so Storefront, in essence, is the easiest way to open a retail store. Historically, you might have tried to do a 5 or 10 year lease in retail. We allow you to rent spaces by the day, week, or month. So you can come onto the site. It's very much, some people can refer to us as Airbnb for retail, because you can come onto the site and you can reach out to space owners and rent those spaces directly through the site.
Okay. So give us an example of a couple of different folks that have used your service and like the type of space that they leased out and why it made sense for the retailer or the shop owner.
Yeah, so one good example is Indochino. They're an e-commerce seller and traditionally have only been online, but for the past 2 years, they've been moving around to a different city every month, and they'll open up a 2 to 3 week store, and they've used us in San Francisco and New York, our two main markets, by just going to thestorefront.com, searching for spaces that fit their needs, and then they'll get insurance straight away and support, and will help promote their store. So what's really great for them is that they already know where their customers are. They can see where these orders are coming on online. They do custom suits for people. So when they're doing an offline experience, it really gives a chance for those customers, as well as new customers, to be able to go into the store, get fitted, bring in the suits that they've had, see the new patterns that are coming out, and actually touch and feel the suits, where normally they wouldn't have had that experience online. So very complimentary.
Okay. And so there's two sides to these parties. One is somebody that has space, and from talking to you, I know it's either space that's just not leased out yet. It could be a full retail location that somebody may not want to sign a long-term lease in, or at least your clients may not. They want something temporary. Or it could be just some extra space like in a hotel lobby or things like that as well. And then the other side is the folks that are looking for temporary space to lease out and would like the flexibility of having a short-term opportunity, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. So there's everything from unique spaces like hotel lobbies or even like fashion trucks on the site, really rethinking what retail space can be, because it can be a lot of different things. What matters is that you're where the people that you want to get in touch with are. And so, that could be like, we have a partnership with MTA in New York. So subway station spaces where, some of the highest foot traffic spaces on the site. And, traditionally it's been like, maybe it's just been a magazine store in there, but now they're bringing in these cool fashion brands, and they're reaching so many people because there's such a high foot traffic run through of the subways. Yeah. And then on the other hand, what we have traditional retail spaces at a mall, spaces at a market. You could rent a booth, and then galleries or stores or even store within a store. So you could rent a space inside of a boutique.
Okay.
So it really runs the full gamut if you're like looking to start small and test out retail from, $100 a day for like a store within a store boutique,
Yep.
to if you want an entire store in the subway or in a mall. You really have your choice on the platform, and you can build and grow through it.
Yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about, on one side, you have folks that have space available. Are you primarily working with larger operators, brokers, and much larger folks that have a lot of space available, or even some one-off folks that maybe have some excess space in an individual location?
Exactly. We'll work with both. So, we work with commercial brokers, we work with mall operators, and we'll work with landlords. And so, there's that's on the real estate side of it, and then we'll also work with people who are leasing from those folks already, and the boutique owner, a retail manager, those sorts of folks as well. So really, it's an opportunity for and I should say we'll even see brokers from each side of the platform. So tenant rep brokers contacting listing brokers and doing deals that way, because they're getting reached out to by their brands, and they're like, hey, I want to do something shorter. Can you get me into Soho for the holidays or Soho for Fashion Week? And so they're like, all right, well, where do I look? I have my network, but everything we're aiming to get every available space in New York or San Francisco, and on the platform, so that you can search through them and find them really easy, because that was the biggest issue starting out.
Right. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what markets are you in right now? Do you serve?
Yeah, so anyone can list on the site across the U.S., but we're mainly focused on San Francisco, New York. I'll give you a little hint that LA is coming up soon. We have a lot of spaces growing organically in LA, and also in other cities like Chicago or Austin, cities that have big events that people want to take advantage of, cities that have really vibrant urban cores. And so we look at it as really like urban centers, and that's where we want to go. Is we want to go to these urban centers that there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of foot traffic, and there's a lot of really great retail experiences that combine both the national brands and the local brands.
Right. Yeah. So how about, do you have any experience with, I was just thinking when you said Austin, I live in Austin for a while, and I'm not too far from there now, but in some cities, a lot of major cities, there's just a huge food truck craze right now. So are you guys involved in leasing out like parking lot space for food trucks and stuff, or?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Actually, before I lived in San Francisco, I was from Minneapolis, and in Minneapolis 2 years ago, they didn't have any food trucks at all, because of the permitting, because it just wasn't allowed. And as soon as they flipped the switch, it just became a much more vibrant area. Especially during the lunch day rush, and during certain events when there was a lot of people out, and so that's something that's very interesting to us. We're seeing a lot of pop-up restaurants, we're seeing a lot of food trucks come out, and then a lot of these even fashion trucks, and they desire some of this open space. So what we've seen is them actually rent out space through the platform at a market. So if a market's like listing booth space or things like that, they'll have spaces. Essentially, a truck can take a booth space, and that's how they've started to cut it up. They've allowed some space for these trucks to come in, park like a booth, open up their back doors or their side window, and then from there they're all set to go, and they already have all this critical mass of people that are out for this entire event. Yeah.
Cool. So, and then talk about kind of the opportunity for folks that are looking for short-term space. I mean, it seems to me like there's a lot of folks, this opens up a lot of opportunities for people that didn't know it existed before, that want to have some sort of retail presence, or at least try it on for size, but don't want to commit to a long-term lease and all of the build out they might need for a retail location. I mean, it's a big commitment to do that. So talk a little bit about the feedback you've gotten from folks that are looking for temporary space, not necessarily just the big players that like the idea to open up a high-end shop for a short period of time and kind of bounce around, but for more of the kind of mom and pop level, or folks that maybe they've only had an online presence, or they don't have a big retail presence, but they can dabble with it through your platform.
Yeah, no, it's a great question because the majority of people we see searching storefront today are people that haven't been able to access retail before.
Yeah.
So it's the artists, the designers, the power Etsy sellers. They're using an e-commerce platform to sell today, and
Yeah.
it's never been easier. Maybe they've raised money on Kickstarter, but now there was still a huge ledge for them to climb to get to retail. And so now they're able to access these different retail spaces that they weren't before. And so that's the people that are most excited about it because they're able to get into it, try it out different spaces, maybe try out different neighborhoods. And it's so much more flexible than they would have had if they had to lock into a 5-year lease right away.
Right.
And it may or may not have worked for their brand or just because that area or even that side of the street. So when they're able to do it during certain times of the year, move around, they're coming from online going offline, and they're more excited than ever. And we have like some really great stories that we have up on the site where people are basically saying, I wanted to open a retail store my entire life.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. So I opened up a fashion truck, or I didn't do it at all. And then now through Storefront, I was able to do a month-long pop-up shop with a group of brands. And now since I've opened up 2 more and have them kind of ongoing around the city. So really exciting to see those stories because, if you look at like eBay, for example, Sophia, the CEO of Nasty Gal, she launched her brand on eBay. And, we want to be we want to be in that same dialogue because now, there's all these great platforms online. There's a lot of noise. So naturally, what can you do next best? And you can come offline, you can go through Storefront, and you can open up a shop in your local neighborhood and let people know that, of what you're doing and talk to them and get feedback and all those things and create a really amazing experience. Essentially, retail is becoming an experiential practice. And
Right.
if you want transactional products, you can go onto Amazon. So if you don't make it interesting and make it engaging and temporal in our case, then it's not going to be something that's going to last.
Right. So for pricing that folks get, if they're able to do a short-term lease, so they're not necessarily, landlords are using it as a way to just make some revenue where they otherwise wouldn't have. And are they charging less for this space, or are they charging more because there's no lease associated with it, or what are you typically seeing there?
Yeah, we'll see landlords actually make more because they're making it more efficient. They can price more efficiently because they know, all right, like I'm getting this much demand for this month. Okay, I can price more for that month. And that's one of our big goals is how can we create more tools that make it easier for someone to run their business? On the landlord side of it, it's how can I price my space better? How can I keep it filled? And a lot of landlords are concerned not just about the profit, but they want to keep their experience vibrant. They don't want to be contributing to the neighborhood in a negative way.
Right.
And so part of that is bringing in these local online sellers that haven't had the chance before, but as soon as they get the chance, they really succeed. And that's always our North Star is how do we keep people becoming successful when they go through us? And so we'll see, for every $1 someone spends on rent, they'll make $7 on average in sales income. And so that's something that we try to promote as much as possible. Is like, here's the things that will make you successful. Here's how to do it. That's why we provide such great customer service. That's why we put so much helpful content out on the blog. And really all that helps people become more successful in what they do.
Right. So it seems like a simple concept that a lot of folks just don't know it exists. So how do you create awareness? How do you educate folks to know that these possibilities are out there?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So one,
You got to educate an entirely new industry, almost.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of 2 steps to education. One, I like to look at it as like every single person out there, either themselves is a maker in some sort of way. Maybe they work for a brand, maybe they're a designer, maybe they're an artist on the side, or they know somebody who is. So it's a really accessible business for Storefront is for all these people out there, in the U.S. today. A lot of people say 1 in 10 people in the U.S., so of 300 million, 1 in 10 are creative entrepreneurs in some way, shape, or form. And even a graphic designer who does web graphics still probably does prints or maybe does photography on the side. So like there's just so many levels of it that people can use to follow their passions. And, as a big part of the sharing economy, there's a lot of different ways you can make extra money to fuel your passion. But I like to say, like, through Storefront, you're actually making money doing your passion, so you can do it more. And so you're really creating a business out of something that you love, and you're not just making extra money to support it. You're actually supporting it through what you do.
Okay. So are you guys, are you actually brokers? Are you brokering these deals, or you're aligning with, I guess, brokers on potentially both sides? And how go ahead and answer that first, and then I'm curious how brokers and agents that have listings, how they see you, because sometimes they may think, well, why would I do that temporarily? I want to get the commission for locking up something for a long term, even if it sits vacant for a long time. It's just maybe a tough mentality to crack for some folks.
Yeah, and we'll see brokers structure new deals with their landlords, in a lot of ways, like, okay, like there's still ways to get commission. Like it's not always just that golden egg of Apple for 20 years. Right. There's these deals, again, are keeping your space filled. They're bringing in revenue. They're bringing in new foot traffic. It's staged. So it's the people that come into the space, you can actually walk tenants through when a space is built out and looking great, versus walking them to a blank canvas that maybe they can or cannot visualize. So that's what's great. As far as, are we looked at as a broker? We're looked at as, a connector, a service provider. So, both the brokers and landlords and space owners on one side, and then the merchants, the artists, the designers on the other. They're fully autonomous. We're giving the powers to streamline this service, streamline this process. And so they're basically, if they're doing negotiation or anything like that, pricing is upfront, transparent on the site, all that stuff. So we're looked at as just the instigator, right? We're just helping people do more of this, access this, and make it more efficient.
Yeah. So talk about, you talked about, several times you mentioned customer service and providing good service. Talk a little bit about the services you provide, because I can tell from you talking that you're doing more than just matchmaking on a site. I mean, I know you're providing some insurance solutions and some other things. Talk a little bit about all the services that you actually provide.
Yeah. It starts, we basically, Eric and I, maybe this is a good point to go into the background of the story, is like Eric and I both came from really creative families. My parents took me to my first art gallery opening, my first art crawl, and they were both artists and designers themselves. Okay. And from there, Eric and I, we both worked in e-commerce after, and I worked for BestBuy.com. I saw the online offline component and actually worked at the middle of it to help bridge that void. And then Eric did some of the first stores inside Facebook. So really thinking about how to reach your customers, what's the best way to do that, how to be innovative about it. And so we took those experiences and brought them into Storefront. And when we were doing that, we saw, okay, what are the biggest pain points in this industry today, and how can we help that? And so the first one was finding these spaces. So like I said, like we're bringing on hundreds of spaces. Now we have thousands on the site, and want to make this the one-stop shop. When you're looking for a retail space, you can sort through and filter, and you can find the best one for you. Cool. The second biggest part of that was the insurance. So we heard stories of people going to 10 different insurance providers, and a lot of them saying, no, I'm not going to insure this short-term event. Or no, I'm not going to do it short term. You can pay for an entire year. And so really what we saw was, all right, there needs to be some easy way. Everyone needs to be insured. That's what landlords want, malls want. Every type of space should and seller should have that type of protection. Yeah. And so we were able to bring that on board. So now if you come through, you're going to get that for free. Specifically short-term general liability and it's specific to that event. We've even heard like Target will do specific short-term general liability insurance for its pop-up shops because they want to make sure that it has the right type of insurance. So in that same vein, we want to do that as well, and want to make sure everyone has that. And so we have some flexibility in it as well. So if you need higher coverage, we can get you that. If you're doing a pop-up restaurant or you're doing a pop-up retail, we can do either of those as well. So have some flexibility around the insurance that fits the space owner's needs. And then the rest of the process is you're getting into setup, payment, and so you can pay up front through the site securely. And when you get to actually setting up your store, we can introduce you to the service providers you may need: temporary retail staff, store design, anything like that, POS systems, anything that you need. We're here, and like customer support is there to help you along the way, as well as give you those recommendations for when you're you're opening up your shop.
And how about things like I'm kind of mixing this with the residential rental side, but in terms of collecting rent, and what if you're the intermediary and somebody is renting it for, let's just say, more than a month, and rent is due? Are they paying you and then you're paying it on? Is that rent passing through you, or are you just kind of facilitating it, or what's your role and responsibility? And if somebody were not to pay and things like that. One of the things that people, there's a few things that people traditionally hate about rental properties, and collecting rent and plunging toilets are the two things at the top of the list. So
yeah. So if it's a multi-month thing, then you get paid up front every month. And yeah, that's part of what we do, is like when people are submitting requests on the platform, you can look at their profile. You can see if they've verified phone, verified email. You can see what types of products they sell, past retail experiences they've had. You know that they have a bank account or a method of payment. And so all those factors, it's like just vetting. It's going way past the sign in the window.
Yeah,
it's not cold calling at all. You're actually seeing who this person is and what they're passionate about and what they make before anything else.
Yeah.
And so then when it comes to rent payments, everything's paid up front, and you're paying directly for that space that and a lot of times it's a license agreement instead of a lease. So
okay.
There are specific instances, like a mall operator who's got their standard lease. That's fine. We let them use that. But a lot of times people use a standard license agreement that's much shorter, much more lightweight. You don't have to worry about holdover situations and things like that.
Right. So from a little bit from the business perspective, from the side of the business on, how you'll make money and how you'll grow and things like that, are you on the hook for rent if somebody were to not pay? Is Storefront responsible for that?
If someone, it's kind of impossible for someone not to pay, since you're going to be paying before you move into the space.
Okay. But let's say they were to lease it for, 3 months or 6 months, they're paying that in full up front?
Usually at the first of it, before every month, like you would with, any sort of like lease or rental.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in that front, right now we allow people to use their own refund policies, or, if there's someone coming back with that, it's like they won't be in the space unless they paid their rent, basically.
I see. So tell us a little bit about the business side of it. How do you measure success, and where do you go from here?
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot more growth. Like, we're getting inquiries, from all across the U.S., all across America, all across the world, really. So
that's awesome.
We want to, stay focused and provide a really consistent, really great experience. A lot of times we look at Zappos or Amazon. Like, we want the best customer service that is out there. We want to treat people great, make them feel great, and help them, be successful in what they do, so that they'll do it again. They'll come back to us when they need it again.
Yep.
And then so, to that extent, it's that part of that is giving them as many options as possible. So if I want to go to New York, let's say I start in San Francisco, I start growing my brand, and now I want to go to San Francisco and New York. It's like now they have those options. So we want to say, as brands grow with us, whether they're local, whether they're national, et cetera, we want them to grow with us and be able to expand their business and their distribution with us. So that's just naturally, we need to be in the best cities for retail, the best shopping cities, the best shopping streets in the U.S. And so that's really the plans for us this year is, providing that platform and being one of the top service providers that helps people sell their products, along the lines of Amazon and eBay.
Yeah. So from listening to you talk, would it be fair to say that you're kind of aiming at more higher end brands, more so than an individual mom and pop that wants to have a retail presence or some way? Because a lot of folks are very geographically specific. They're located in one city and they're not going in. They may only want one storefront periodically for a short period of time, but they're not really a national player.
I say, right, we serve both. So, if someone going local to local, they may, be, let's say, in San Francisco, and they're going to different places in San Francisco, different neighborhoods. They're going to Oakland. They're going down to Palo Alto or Silicon Valley. But eventually we see these brands growing, and so becoming more and more of our local to local brands will start to become, it would be like a national to local where they have a presence across the U.S. versus just in one specific area. Okay. But on that front though, we see both. We see the Indochinos that travel across the country and need to go to a lot of different cities. And we see people that want to stay in San Francisco and grow their brand locally here. So, or in New York. So both those are applicable to the platform. And, we can serve more people. Let's say we go to Chicago, we can serve the local makers there. And we can also help people, larger brands or e-commerce brands come offline there if their customers are there. Yep.
Cool. Well, tell us a little bit more about how they learn more about you. I know you have an ebook out that helps educate people and help people understand what you have to offer as well, but tell us a little bit about how folks learn more.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm always been a huge advocate for helping people. That's, what we do through Storefront. We empower these makers, artists, and designers, all the creative entrepreneurs out there. Through my last startup that I founded with Eric as well, my co-founder, we helped social entrepreneurs. And so my email is Tristan, real simple, Tristan @thestorefront.com. If I can answer any questions or help people think about this in a better way. And we have our ultimate guide to opening a pop-up shop, free for download. I think we'll include it as a link after this.
Yeah, we'll add links below the video for
great.
Whatever you got.
Awesome. And so the pop-up guide and our blog and my email, those are some of the best resources that you can have for retail today.
Okay. And they could just visit thestorefront.com and maybe see some examples of shops that are available. And so do retailer or folks that are interested in space, do they have a profile as well? I mean, does your model have both sides present on the site, or do you just see the sites that are available for rent, or is it people that are looking for something that they can't find on the site and they're kind of marketing to potential space owners?
Yeah, so what you'll see, there are both sides have profiles.
Yeah.
So you'll see a space owner profile, a renter profile, but what you're searching on the site are the listings. And so through that, really, right now, the only people who see the renter profile, which are the brands, are the space owners when they submit a request.
I see. Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on the show today. It's a really interesting concept, and like I said, I told you this before, my wheels are kind of turning on extra space I have to maybe lease out. Most of my stuff is residential, but if you want to, market some lemonade stand opportunities for folks, I've got some front yards that we can put these shops in. So
we have some very unique spaces on the site, so maybe you should test it out, Mike.
Yeah, cool. I'll check it out. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining us on the show today and sharing your information, and definitely wish you all the best in Storefront.
Thank you so much. Appreciate being here. It's been a pleasure. And again, happy to take any questions from anyone.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll see you around. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit flipnerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to flipnerd.com.